Hey, you viewers and viewresses, my name is General Red Strategist and welcome back to Sir Being Hunted. This is episode 620 now, I do think, if I'm not mistaken. We are basically doing a challenge today because I thought, I mean, I know I'm probably about to sort of date the video a bit here, kind of like I did in the last one, but in essence, this video, or this challenge rather, I should say, which will probably consist of a couple of videos because it'll probably be split in that way, like I do with a lot of my challenges, is well, basically, I'm recording this before Christmas, but obviously, this challenge is not going to go out until after Christmas. So, yeah, if you're watching, hope you had a good Christmas, everybody. So, yeah, this is just a bit of pre recorded filler content on the channel in the meantime. And the challenge we're doing today, I don't actually really have a proper name for, but I'm going to call it. I'm going to call it the Stables Challenge, something like that. So the idea is, I've spawned onto this map. We have to find a farmstead, one of the farm buildings, you know. What's that? You can hear a rider off in the distance. That's because I've tweaked the robot spawn settings so that pretty much most of the different types of robots are spawning straight off the bat. The idea is we have to accumulate weapons. We have to find a farm, make it our base of operations, and basically we have to lure tons of riders, as many riders as we can get to there, because it's a stables challenge. We need to find horses. Stables need horses and all that. So that's the idea. Basically, we have to lure riders there, kill them, so we can keep the horses there. And obviously, I get a point for every rider I can kill at the farm. Obviously, I don't get points if I kill riders outside of said farm. We're going to have 45 minutes to do this, and I'm starting the timer now. There we go. Right, just time for me to get going because there's fucking robots everywhere. So, as you probably saw a moment ago, I am starting as the officer class for this particular challenge. Oh god, right riders there. Balloon is right where I need to be, which is not good. Well, not where I need to be, but okay, let's cut through the thicket and hope that there isn't a bloody poacher here. Yes, like I say, what I've kind of done is I haven't maxed out the robot spawn rates in this challenge. I've just upped them slightly, so that way we get a good mix of them right off the bat. What I should probably do actually is move my stuff like this so that way I've got everything in the slots where it needs to be. That's a bit of extra ammo, that's great. I'll take the torch, fantastic. If you get a map of the islands as well, that would be quite useful as well, but we're not, I don't know, we can still probably do this without it. Now it occurs to me that I kind of set this one up very quickly because, well, I wanted to do a challenge, but the problem is, I kind of only really customise this centre island. So if there isn't a farm on here, then we're going to be in a bit of trouble. Because we're going to have to look on other islands and see if we can find one. But, alright, let's go this way then. Just got to look for large structures, that's all. I should probably keep my rifle out, in case I need to do some shooting. Now I hear a rider. Is he... away? He's kind of going in an awkward direction there. Right, let's go towards this village over here and hope that old El Rider over there doesn't cause too much of a problem. I mean, there should be a farm somewhere on this island, right? I always find that typically on every island, especially rural islands, I always feel like there's at least one pub and at least one farm. That's usually how it goes, isn't it? Is that not usually what happens? Ooh, just rubber banded off that thing on the ground without meaning to. No balls, didn't mean to do that. Well, keep investigating. Oh, there's two riders, I hear them. Okay, I'm going back over here then. Follow the road. Shit, where are you? Oh, you're over there. Good lord, I was about to run into you. Right, he's going away again by the looks of it. Let me cut through the village, because that's really what I want to do. I need to find the farm. I did up the large structure spawn rate slightly during the biome customization settings and all that. So, with any luck, that may just increase the likelihood that there is a farm somewhere on this island. But there should be, right? Surely. God, there's fucking hunters bloody everywhere, of course there is. Right, go over this way then. See, like I say, this is why a map of the islands actually would have come in quite handy. Because obviously with the maps, you can tell where all the large structures on the island are actually located. Then you can go and find them, can't you? Is there something around here? Is there something around here? I'm thinking there's a backup. Oh, wait, is that? No, that's just another village. I thought it was a large building then, but it isn't. Well, that's fine. That's fun-nubby-dozy. We'll just have to deal with that, won't we, ladies and gentlemen? Ooh, take that, though. Take that, take that. Now, in the meantime, of course, I hope all you guys out there are doing good, and that you're looking forward to this challenge over here. Because it's been a while. Actually, it hasn't been that long, has it? I was about to say it's been a while since I last did a challenge, but then again, I did that 5-in-1 not too long ago. Even though that was just a couple of episodes, but hey, it was fun while it lasted. I got tons of food. I don't need any more. Just going to check all these buildings for as much ammo as I can get. Still no sign of a farm, though. I hope. So, okay, yeah, I think I did customise the village spawn rates, incidentally, as well. Judging by the fact that, obviously, we have quite an interesting layout of them. I must have taken them up slightly. Hence why there's so many. I hope that just doesn't end up interrupting the amount of large structures. Because I know sometimes the way that biomes generate in this game is somewhat specific. Things can overwrite other things and things like that. You know what I mean? Let's go over here. Don't need haggis. I hear more robots. Alright, I think we have to go towards the centre of the island here. Because otherwise, I don't think we're going to find what we need. There's another village off over there. Yeah, it would be really helpful if I just had on map. I could see where I was going. Could actually identify some locations to actually head to, but that's not going to happen, is it? At least if it does happen, it probably won't be anytime soon. Alright, I've only got just under 40 minutes remaining of the challenge. Like I say, I'll probably split this into 2 episodes, I do think, of just over 20 minutes each. Does that make sense? That way it it basically ensures that the schedule has a few episodes to keep it going in the meantime. Because I'm anticipating tomorrow or the day after, as when I record this, going to have visitors. And then, yeah, I'm just going to be a bit busy and won't be able to do any recording, so it's going to be good. And of course, at some point I'm going to be heading back up north to visit friends and family. I'm not going to be able to record anyway. So I need to get things pre-recorded. So I've got plenty of stuff just to keep me going in the meantime. Alright, there's seriously no fucking large structures on this island? My balls up. Well, there's that one over there. That's like a ruined building. There's a fucking beached boat, apparently. Which I would have thought would normally be more typical of the Fens biomes, but I guess we get to see one of them. Is there a village off down there? There is, where that rider is at the moment. Okay, maybe there isn't a fucking farm on this island, which is surprising. Because like I said, I just feel like every rural biome you ever generate, there's always at least one. Because I wonder if, you know, I've talked before about hypothesizing in terms of how does the biome generation system in this game work. Because, you know, freaking 600 episodes in, you'd think I would have picked up a thing or two about it. And I do think that by default, you know, there's certain buildings that you always get at least one instance of. Oh, where are you going? Where are you? Oh, you're there. He's near the water's edge, that's what he's doing. Go away, buddy. I want to explore off in that direction. Okay, I think he's going. Sounds like he's going anyway. Go down a bit of tea whilst I'm at it. Where are you going? You're going over there? Okay, right, I'm going to go over this way. Whilst his back is turned. Now, I probably should have customised the other islands as well, now that I think about it, but hey. Then again, I left them default, so you never know. Maybe if we head across to one of those, actually, it'll turn out there is a farmstead on there. Don't know. I didn't max out villages to, well, I didn't max them out on the biome generation setting, so I wouldn't have thought that they would necessarily interrupt the usual generation of other stuff that you can find on a So You're Being Hunted map, but Well, never mind. Eat the cheese. Through here, maybe? Through here. Yes, indeed. Gosh, so some of you might be thinking, actually, come to think of it, a sort of question that may be on some of my viewers' minds. 2024. What are my plans for the channel, if any? And I wouldn't say I have any concrete plans for the channel. I just have, vague ideas for games I would love to play and all that. Because the thing is, Phil has actually mentioned before other big robot games from back in the day that, I've been saying for a while I want to either play or go back to, and I still haven't. And I'm thinking to myself, I should. Because you remember the Signal from Tolva, ladies and gentlemen? Friggin' Big Robots game that came out after Sir You're Being Hunted, which I bought and I always said I was going to play, but I never freaking did. Maybe one day in 2024 I should finally get around to playing that, because God, would Signal from Tolva, how old would that be now? It'll be less than 10 years old. It won't be that old yet, but it will be old, I'm telling you now, by this point. Right, I don't think there's actually a farm on this island. Let's just go randomly to another island and see what we can find, because I don't think this island, this centre, is proving promising. So yes, Signal from Tolva, ladies and gentlemen. I want to give that one a try. Okay. So that one, yes, I want to give that one a try. I know people in the past have sometimes said that Signal from Tolva maybe isn't as good as or other big robot games, but I don't know. I want to give it a shot. I believe it's kind of like a sci-fi FPS about robots on a distant planet, something like that. A lot of big robots games are about robots, in essence. So yeah, I want to give that one a whirl at some point. And Lord knows, like I say, I've been saying that for so long that I really, really need to do it. The Light Keeps Us Safe, of course, which I did do a playthrough of back in the day, and which I've also been saying for some time that I want to go back to, because obviously when I first played it, it was in early access. But of course, since I last played it, it is now in full release. In fact, it has been in full release for a while. So I would want to go back and maybe replay it, see what the full version is actually like, what changed, maybe what stayed consistent, is there now an actual ending to the game, things like that. So that's something else that obviously I still have in mind. It's just the problem is, every time I'm doing a new playthrough on the channel, there's always so many games that are coming out in the meantime on Steam, which I'm buying, because I'm like, ooh, that looks interesting, I'll just buy that. And I think, oh, I could play that on the channel, definitely. But then, of course, that just ends up adding to the list. Oh God, what are you doing over there, buddy? Yeah, so I end up with just tons of games on my list, thinking, oh, I'll play this. Oh, I really want to play this on the channel. Actually, I'm just going to boost this up the list and maybe play this before anything else. And so as a result, things, other stuff that I've been saying for some time that I want to play, I end up never playing as a result, because there's just so much other stuff that I want to take a look at. Right. I'm just looking around. There's still no farm around here. Still don't see one. Oh, cripes. Please tell me there is a farm on this map somewhere. Otherwise this challenge is going to peter out. Because we're not far off bloody only 30 minutes remaining here. We've nearly used up our first 15 minutes of the challenge, and we still haven't scored any points yet. Haven't even found a farm, which is annoying. Okay, maybe there is no guarantee that a farm will spawn by default. Maybe it's just a certain amount of large structures and it just picks from a pool, like the churches, the pubs, farms, the big mansions, stuff like that. Maybe that's what it is, ladies and gentlemen. Right, so yeah, so Signal from Tolva, Light Keeps Us Safe, obviously want to play those. But in the meantime, I have tons of other stuff that I want to play. In fact, recently, when I record this, I was on eBay again, because you know me, I sometimes like to go on eBay and search to see if I can get old, second-hand copies of obscure video games that I remember usually from the early 2000s, which basically games that are so obscure you won't find them on places like GOG or Steam or anything like that. They're basically games that, unless you have an actual physical copy, they've basically been lost to the mists of time. And recently, off eBay, I did manage to get myself a couple of disc copies of a couple of old games from 2003. My year in gaming, ladies and gentlemen. I haven't had a chance to test them as of yet, so I have no idea if they work on my PC, if they work with modern hardware. But I'm going to give them a shot at some point, and if I can get them to work, and if I can get Bandicam to work with them, then God, I would love to do full playthroughs. So, in case anyone's curious as to what the games are, the games in question, one of them is a sort of sci-fi space sim called Freelancer. Does anyone remember Freelancer from back in the day? Anyone remember that? Basically, it was a sci-fi game where you pilot spaceships and there's like space combat and all kinds of stuff. And I remember playing the demo of it when I was a teenager back in 2003. But I never played the full version. But the demo I do remember being quite fun. So there's that. I've got that. And the other one is a RPG, a sci-fi RPG from like a sort of isometric top-down perspective called Harbinger, another 2003 game, which I played the demo of back in the day, once again, when I was a teenager, but never played the full version of. And yeah, Harbinger, I think Harbinger in particular is one of those games that probably most people have forgotten that it ever existed. But from what I can remember of the demo, whilst the gameplay did suffer from some of the problems that a lot of kind of, top-down perspective games of that day played, which is that the controls could sometimes be a bit awkward, overall, I do remember it being somewhat fun. And it did have an interesting kind of graphical style and an interesting vibe to it. So yeah, I'm going to be testing those two physical copies of games out at some point to see if I can get them working. And like I say, if I can, then potential couple of playthroughs for 2024? Question mark? But yeah, in the meantime, of course, I've got tons of other horror games that I want to play. And just generally loads of other stuff that I need to take a look at. I've been thinking as well at some point about doing another strategic campaign series, a season 3, where basically I look at demos of upcoming RTS and strategy games. Because Lord knows, there's tons of demos for them, for games like that on Steam. So it'd be good to maybe do that, Maybe have a sort of series where I just look at demos. Don't know if I'd necessarily... Well, I was about to say don't know if I'd necessarily buy them and play the full versions, but you never know, actually, because sometimes when I play demos of games on Steam, it's good, because I sometimes find games that I really like the look of, and I think, you know what, I'll put that even onto my Steam wish list, And then that way it could be great. We could end up eventually seeing that on the channel, something like that. Because, I've played some great demos before in the past, particularly this year, like that Shadow Gambit demo and the demo for Sea of Stars, and they were both actually quite fun little games. What was kind of interesting is that, of course, they were types of games that I don't think I ever really played before on this channel, namely sort of, RPGs, especially Sea of Stars, which is kind of like a turn-based RPG. And, of course, turn-based games are not something that I traditionally kind of go for myself, but Sea of Stars, the demo was quite promising, it was quite lovely, so I put it on my Steam wish list, and it's always a possibility, especially because it has very cute graphics, very colourful, just lovely to look at and all that. So there's all kinds of possibilities, and yeah, I may well be keeping my eyes peeled, like I say, on eBay in the meantime for any other games that I remember from my youth which are no longer available anywhere else, which cannot be found on Steam or GOG or anywhere, any online digital platform, to see if maybe, I could buy them and play them. A game that I did buy a physical copy of off eBay, because again, it was a 2003 game that I can remember playing the demo of back in the day, was a little-known Ubisoft first-person shooter called Will Rock, which had a very interesting vibe, because basically it was an FPS where you... basically had all kinds of guns and crazy weapons, sci-fi guns and all that, and you would essentially fight ancient Greek mythological monsters. And I can remember playing the demo of it, and it was quite fun and fast-paced. So I bought a physical copy of it off eBay a while back, but sadly I couldn't get it to work, which is a real shame, because I would have really loved to do a Let's Play of it here on the channel. Because the thing is, I sometimes love playing obscure titles on the channel, games that have been forgotten, because often people, there's tons of people out there on YouTube who remember them from back in the day, especially these more obscure games. Sometimes there aren't really any actual Let's Plays of them on YouTube, especially not English Let's Plays. Like that was the case obviously for Grom Terror in Tibet, that game that I played quite a while back, which really got some glorious red rage out of me, admittedly. Because that game, there are Let's Plays of it on YouTube, but not really any English ones. Usually they're sort of like Russian or Deutsch or whatever. So yeah, the Grom Terror in Tibet playthrough actually did get quite a few views at times because of the fact that it was such an obscure game that hasn't been played that often on this site. So it was a bit of a nostalgic blast from the past for many people. Though admittedly my gameplay in it does leave a lot to be desired. Yeah, but like I say, I do enjoy them, and I do have other old 2003 games from the early 2000s in my Steam library, which I do remember vaguely, but which aren't necessarily obscure enough to not be available, if that makes sense. That's a garbled way of saying it, isn't it? So, for example, I think I've mentioned Chaser before, haven't I? You remember Chaser, ladies and gentlemen? 2003 first-person shooter, sci-fi. It's another game that I remember playing the demo of back in my youth, when the demo came out in 2003, but I never actually bought the full version of it. But I've got that on Steam, and that's generally decently rated. So that's a game that I do actually want to play at some point. So I've got tons of ideas, basically. But moving away from sort of older games, obviously Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach, you know, I will be continuing in the meantime, because fuck it, I'm going to see how many secrets in that game and how many endings I can find. And the thing is, the Ruin DLC for that is actually free, I do believe. So I'm just thinking to myself, I might as well play that as well, because why the heck not? For all its flaws, I've been weirdly sort of enjoying Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach. So I'll probably play the Ruin DLC. And when I say probably, I mean definitely. So I may well play that straight after I've finished the main Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach playthrough, I think. So, yeah, we'll see. Now, I've already mentioned, obviously, there's loads of horror games that I want to play. I still have yet to play games like Soma, Amnesia Rebirth, Amnesia the Bunker, things like that. In fact, I don't know, do I have Amnesia the Bunker in my Steam library? Did I buy it? I don't know. I'll have to check. If it's not in my Steam library, it'll definitely be on my Steam wish list. But I just can't remember off the top of my head, that's all. So, yeah, we'll look around for that. What else? So I've mentioned Soma. Oh God, yeah, there's loads. I mean, I have loads of horror games in my Steam library that I want to play. Like the Penumbra games, I've got those ones. They're like classic old horror games, they are. As well as other sort of lesser-known titles that I definitely want to play too. I'm trying to think, what other genres? What other games? I mean, I have various FPSs. People have at times asked me to do some of the other Wolfenstein games, like the Old Blood and the New Order, and I have been thinking for some time about doing those. I just haven't got around to them. So, yes, it could well be the case that in 2024 you'll see a few more of them, perhaps. And it reminds me, actually, Youngblood, which I did do a single video of at one time, just after it got released. That's a game I could come back and actually play. I know Youngblood isn't as highly rated as some of the other more modern Wolfenstein games. I know some people don't really like it, but I'm willing to give it a shot. I'm willing to play it, you know? Because I am a fan of the Wolfenstein franchise, but I feel like I'm kind of behind. It also, I also discovered that for Wolfenstein the New Colossus, there's actually some DLC add-ons you can get for it, which add in sort of like little side missions with random characters. So that might be something as well that I look into. And maybe, you know, we could one day come back to Wolfenstein 2, the New Colossus, and actually do a bit more of that. So maybe it's not huge, but it might be enough for a decent length episode. We'll see. Right. I do love that there's been an attempt to take the level 5 aesthetic and try for something a little unique looking with the orange background, but oh, bastards. There we go. Right, go down. Oh, so many coins. I'm sure I'm going to get another life at some point here. Gotcha. I see you 3 over there. Claw so tough even. You can take out 3 enemies at once. Right. There we go, there's the extra life. If I can do it up there. Perch like an asshole. Right. Missed. Okay, hold on. We can do that again. Oh, I can't even use the ladder. It's just out of reach.